In Tennessee, we love our ghost stories. And tonight, just for Halloween, we're going to share a few. And that's going to start right here, at a place that's been here since the time this is all it'd take to get in.
It's a tradition dating back to the time of silent films. The businesses here, the people of downtown Gallatin, love movies.
We like the old classics.
I really like The Princess Bride, Dirty Dancing.
Blazing Saddles.
One of my favorites is The Wizard of Oz.
And for more than 100 years, the place to see those great movies, those famous scenes, has been right here.
The Palace Theater is the first thing you kind of notice in the square.
But the square also knows it as a place of stories, the kind best shared on a Halloween night.
There's just so many people that's got stories of the stuff that they've seen out there.
If I'm scared of it, that must mean I do believe in it somehow.
That many people just can't make it up. So there's got to be something going on.
Before I started here, anything supernatural was like, okay, yeah, right. It wasn't something that really believed in. Absolutely changed my mind.
Donna Belote runs the palace today. She says to understand this place, you have to go back to the theater's early years. It was the 1910s. It cost a nickel to get in, and a man named Bill Roth opened the palace playing silent movies. Mr. Roth would bang drums, break glasses, blow horns, anything to give the crowd a jolt. He wanted people to love movies the way he did. And Donna believes decades after his death, Mr. Roth never stopped watching.
Things have happened. Things have happened.
Donna says one night, her husband was adjusting the focus on the projector when he looked out this window.
He said Mr. Roth was standing on that balcony. He had his hat on and he was smoking a cigarette. I had a guy that was working the projector for us. I asked him to splice a movie together. He came in after work and it was, 11, 12 at night. It was definitely late at night. He said he put the movie together. He came downstairs. He sat in the back row watching the movie. Somebody had dropped a box of gobstoppers. He said, I know nobody was in here. He called me and said, I'm out of here. If that didn't happen, or if that wasn't spirit, then tell me what it was, because I want to believe you. I want the explanation. But nobody can give it to me.
The sun coming up on a new day in Gallatin. It's showtime at the palace.
All right, enjoy the show.
Stop, sisters. Greetings from Gallatin.
Donna will tell you there's no one here who's frightening.
He wants to watch movies, more power to him.
It was his theater, that was probably his baby.
In a city, in a square where people love the smell of popcorn butter, love movies, this is the place where everyone can gather together in the dark.
Mr. Ross in here, I hope he likes the movie. I hope he enjoys it.
The Palace Theater has been part of downtown Gallatin since 1913, far before even that picture was taken. But coming up, we're taking you to a theater even older. We'll introduce you to the woman who says she's come to understand the ghosts of her building. Who brought us these anyway? We just took you to the Palace Theater, part of downtown Gallatin for more than 100 years. But now we're going to take you to another theater, one that's been here even longer than the silent film era.
It's sheer adrenaline. It really truly is. The sheer terror, it's a heart-stopping, the feeling you have before that curtain opens on opening night.
At her Star Theater in Pulaski, Tammy Perchowski can see that something,
We'll be working on that, okay?
a passion in certain actors, that makes them belong under stage lights. But Tammy says sometimes actors are so drawn to the stage, they never leave. Upstairs from where she rehearses, this is Antoinette Hall.
When it opened on Christmas Eve of 1868, it was vaudeville shows. When it closed in the 1930s, they pretty much just shut the doors and walked away. There's not been another event that's happened in this space.
But Tammy doesn't believe Antoinette Hall was ever truly left behind.
I brought a tour group, and we were up here by the stage, and one of the folks that was on the tour said, well, you know, I wonder what's underneath that stage. And I said, well, the bodies of bad actors, of course. And the fire door went shut, and it would not open. We had a little brief panic moment. I called my husband, and he opened the door easily from the outside, and those kids about mowed him over, exiting.
Tammy says strange things continued, like what began on a late night while she was downtown. She says she heard something. Something coming from Antoinette Hall.
And it got louder and louder, and it was a tapping sound, and it was rhythmic. Came upstairs and came through the doors. It was silent. So I go back downstairs, go back to my work. A couple minutes later, it starts back up again.
Tammy's come to believe it was the ghost of someone who used to dance on this stage, now wanting to leave a place where he felt he belonged.
Maybe he's watching over it. Maybe he's hoping that it'll open up again someday.
Tammy says in this place, on that stage, there's room for everyone.
They want to stay, so they're welcome. It's some 100 years in the future, maybe we'll still be here.
So far, we've been surrounded by the lights of downtowns. But coming up, we've got one more story to share. We're going to take you deep into the woods to tell it. Long before we were telling these stories through cameras, we were telling them through word of mouth, storytellers. So that's why we're inviting some storytellers in to help us tell this last one.
Whether it was Confederate or Union Army, these mansions were taken over by the Army and turned into military hospitals.
Many men died there.
They'd be cutting off arms, cutting off legs, and throw them out the window. The reason haunts hang around usually is because they died a violent death or they had unfinished business.
I now know that it's one of the most haunted places in the United States.
They fought all around Murfreesboro, so it's bound that they're just everywhere.
The Bakers are taking a visit from Tammy McClendon of the Stones River Paranormal Society. She says someone's guarding a cemetery on the Bakers' property. Someone long dead.
We were here at the cemetery. One of our members, he said that he felt something on his back, almost like someone put their hand on his back. He was encompassed in something that looked like a fog. I was at a certain tree and I heard whistling. I saw this Confederate soldier start running across the yard.
Tammy says the ghosts of Murfreesboro may still let themselves be known in smaller ways. Like a whistle in the woods.
Three stories, three cities. It's like we said, Tennessee loves a good ghost story. Thanks for joining us as we share just a few on this Halloween night. See you next year.